If you have a pet, you'll know vet bills in Singapore are insanely high and they keep getting worse. Watch this and you'll know why this is so. So, here's something that non-pet owners might not know. For humans, when we are sick, we can just head to a clinic, wait for a while and then see the doctor. However, it's completely different for pets. When your pet is sick, you can indeed head to your regular vet, but sometimes because you did not have an appointment, you will be turned away and have to head to an emergency vet hospital instead, which will charge you more. That's because vets in Singapore are so in demand that I honestly will not be surprised if one day booking an appointment feels like fighting for Taylor Swift tickets on Ticketmaster. I mean, take a look at a vet clinic on the weekends and you can almost hear the cash register sound inside the clinic. And that's not the only issue. Every vet visit, whether your pet suddenly falls sick or it's just a routine checkup, can easily cost hundreds of dollars. Vets usually explain the cost upfront before any treatment, but if you look at the breakdown of the cost, you'll be shocked. Once, one of my ears became a balloon due to something and the cost of draining out the blood sewing through a procedure and whatnot add up to almost $4,000. And the procedure itself is less than $1,000, while the other costs add up. And once, I did not feel like eating, and guess what's the total cost of getting me to eat again? Almost $2,000. And it turned out that I just have too much hairball in my stomach. And so, the solution is laxative, like seriously. So, for non-pet owners, going to a vet is akin to opening a blind box. You always hope to spend $100, and you will spend hundreds and even thousands of dollars. According to various vets, the veterinary fees in Singapore have increased between 100% to 300% over the past 20 years. But what's more interesting is that it increased sharply only recently, up to 20% in 2022 and 2023. It's so bad that there was once a viral story about a couple who had to sell the HDB flat to clear the credit card loans they took for their dog's veterinary bills. It's estimated that it will cost about $2,000 to $3,000 per year for each pet for vet care in Singapore. And honestly speaking, as a pet owner, I have to kind of agree lah. But why? Why are vet costs so expensive in Singapore and why is it increasing? Well, it turns out that there are 4 main reasons. Now, if you have paid attention earlier, you'll realize something. The consultation and procedure fees are just part of the vet cost. For example, when my ear became a balloon, the procedure itself, which is a minor surgery, is about $500 or $600. But the overall bill, including many follow-up appointments and previous attempts to just drain out the blood, came out to almost $4,000. Why? There are many other external things, like medicine, suture materials, machines or whatnot. Here's the thing, according to vets, the consultation and procedure fee increase are kind of in line with inflation, but not those external items. They can increase from 10% to 50% per item, making them much more expensive, leading to a higher overall vet cost. In addition, other costs like rental, staff costs and whatnot are increasing. So vets are saying that the increased bills are not going to their pockets, but to these external ad hoc factors and overheads. If you are looking to advertise your business in this channel, we can help you. There are guaranteed views and many big brands have trusted us. Just click on the link in the description. You might know about DINK, which is dual income, no kid couple. But do you know that there are also acronyms like DINKWA or DINGWA, which are called dual income, no kid with a dog or dual income, no kid with a cat? Yeah, you see, more people, including couples that are not having kids, are having pets. It's rather hard to find a reliable figure about pet ownership in Singapore, as different studies show different figures. But here's one key trend. The number of people in Singapore having pets are growing rapidly, with more pet imports and more pet shops opening every year. With more pets, there will definitely be more demand for their healthcare needs, and you should know what will happen next. More demand means higher prices. But if so, won't there be more vets for the supply? Well, yes, but it could not keep up with the demand. Any pet owners will know this. Booking an appointment with a vet is akin to looking for an ataji in your ice kacang. It's possible, but it's difficult. That's because in Singapore, there is a shortage of vets. You see, first and foremost, there is no vet school in Singapore. This means that if you want to be a vet, you have to go overseas to get your degree, usually in Australia. That itself will have deterred many from becoming a vet. There are, however, more vets in Singapore over the years due to the higher demand. As of October 2025, there are 609 licensed vets, which is a whopping 5.5 times more since 2006, when there were only 121 licensed vets. That is still not enough, because if we look at the Euromonitor International report, there are over 410,000 pets in Singapore, and that's like about 600 pets per vet in Singapore. And like what I mentioned, there are many different figures on the pet figures in Singapore, so 410,000 might be considered the lower end. Now, this has reached a stage whereby people in the industry are leaving due to the heavy workload. So yes, with more demand and low supply, it's no surprise that prices increase faster than an auntie looking for a seat in the MRT train. But here's a last reason you likely did not think of. You see, my owner is a victim of this too. He always compares the cost of human healthcare with pet healthcare. It's going to be very different due to the subsidies that Singaporeans get. For example, if a human gets a flu and visit a polyclinic, he might pay about $40 for consultation and medicine. If he's a pet, it can go upward to $100. And we have yet to factor in transport, which will be much more expensive if we have to call a private hire car that accepts pets. And when it comes to complicated treatments, the difference will be much larger. So yes, when we do this comparison, veterinary costs are of course going to look more expensive. Now, if you add all the 4 reasons, you realize that there's no solution to this yet. Or is there? I mean, you might have read something like this, right? Well, it might or might not help yet. Back in 2023, it was reported that a new bill, which is like a proposed law, will be proposed for the vet industry. To do that, a council will be formed to regulate professionals in the veterinary industry, kind of like how doctors are being accountable to the Singapore Medical Council. But what will the laws be about? Well, the authorities have just gathered feedback from the public on this bill, and in January 2026, they have just listed out a summary of the feedback, mainly support for the vets and having a stronger framework for practicing vets, and of course, not letting non-qualified individuals to practice veterinary medicine. As expected, pricing is, well, mentioned, but according to MPAS, as pricing and fees are not within the scope of the bill, we will consider separate measures to address these concerns. So yes, this new proposed law you are hearing about will not address pricing, but the authorities will consider separate measures to look at them. As to how, we are not sure yet. So here's the solution. Ask your pets not to fall sick first until there are measures to look at pricing. Okay, I was kidding because there's another solution. If you are really worried about vet costs, you might want to look at pet insurance. Yeah, I kid you not, there's an insurance policy for everything. From what I understand, they are pretty new as more insurance firms started to offer this service. There's usually a limit to the amount that can be claimed, and also, they might not cover older pets, which do not make sense to me as they are the pets that require more medical procedures. To be honest, I've read through the policies and they look more like car insurance instead of healthcare insurance, but nevertheless, they can help if your pets are sick, if your pets are young. Therefore, if I have got only one suggestion to you as a cat myself, here's it. Feed me better and healthier food, let me exercise more by allowing me to zoom me around the house, and bring me for checkups and vaccination regularly, and you will reduce your chance of a shock vet bills. In the meantime, do you know that cats like me follow you not because I like you, but because of something else? Watch this video to know the misconception of cats. Thank you for spending almost 7 minutes with me. I really appreciate it and hope you learned something.